This is a U.S.-China Media Brief produced by the UCLA Asian American Studies Center.
Would you read us those 顺口溜 in Chinese too?
No, because I didn't bring them in Chinese. I'm not sure my memory is good enough to reproduce them. There's one that I did read to you that I think I can quote verbatim. There's one, this is also looking back at the course of the revolution and finding out that we workers who thought we were the leading class ended up at the bottom. 辛辛苦苦40年，一朝回到解放前。既然回到解放前，当年革命又为谁？ How's that? If you like, though, I can get them for you. And they're in the back of a book called Popular China that I co-edited a few years ago. All of them are there. Yeah.
You mentioned the degree to which popular Chinese nationalism is an expression not merely of pride and accomplishment, but a defensive reaction to a certain degree of insecurity.
Right.
Recently, when I traveled in China, I spoke with people. I'm limited in that I only speak English, so I was only able to converse with my tour guides.
Right.
But a number of them expressed to me their sincere conviction that Taiwan was being used by the United States of America as a military base from which to launch, sooner or later, an aggressive attack on China.
Yeah.
I know that the leaders of the Chinese government surely do not believe that, yet they continue to teach that to the population of China. Are they, in fact, taking a precaution with an eye to using, in some period in the future of economic or social unrest, difficulty leading to genuine political unrest? Are they preparing the way to use an attack on Taiwan as a foreign adventure to distract the people from domestic problems of a major nature?
Mm.
And if so, what are the odds of a war over precisely this origin?
Well, the honest answer is I don't know, because I don't know the internal thinking of the top leaders well enough to answer your question. Are they planning to do such a thing? My feeling is that they wouldn't. They probably know that that's dangerous and reckless and wouldn't do that. The larger, though, point that your question illustrates is something that my Chinese dissident friends say a lot and that I basically believe myself. And that's that these exterior conflicts get stirred up sometimes in order to distract attention of the populace from their daily life problems. The ordinary person in a Chinese village or factory or something is not going to worry that much about Tibet or Taiwan or Xinjiang or Japan or something, as they are their own daily lives. Am I being treated fairly here? Is there corruption here? And so on. When the disturbances broke out in Tibet in March of 2008, this was on the internet as well, this beautiful essay by a Tibetan eyewitness of exactly what he saw from time to time. And he made the point that when the rioters were going down one of the main streets, and I've forgotten the name of the street now, the Chinese People's Armed Police did nothing. They watched. They let them go and ransack for a while, and then took out videos and recorded this rioting and so on. The videos were later shown almost continuously over that weekend for the next 4 days, all across China. But then his question is, why didn't you stop them before that rioting happened, and why would you videotape instead of stopping them? And then he compared it to a breakout that happened March 27th or something, about 2 weeks later, when again a group of young Tibetans got in the street and looked as if they were going to riot. And this time the police squelched them right away. And he said, in time one you didn't squelch it, in time two you did. Time one, instead of squelching it, you let the New China news agency's cameras record it, and wouldn't you know it, those things were shown all over China. His conclusion, that he didn't spell out, but it was pretty clear if you read the essay, is that that was done intentionally in order to have material with which to prejudice the opinions of everybody else in China. So I think that kind of thing probably does happen, yes. Yeah.
This recent novel you mentioned, you said it was banned in China after appearing on the internet.
Right.
Why was it banned if it was so popular, not really anti-government or anti-China, only anti-corruption?
Well, because its subtitle is ruyan@sars.com. And at the end of the novel, the SARS thing breaks out, and Ruyan is on her internet trying to learn about this weird disease that has broken out in South China, and suddenly it goes bloop, and the whole web page is closed down. And so it does take on a anti-government position at the end about the outbreak of SARS and the repression of information about SARS. And then I think implicitly too, although the official in this novel strikes us as a pretty good person, the system that he's in doesn't strike us as a good system. And so, but again, I can't answer the question more precisely than that. But things like this in China often get closed down, but futilely because they spread on the internet anyway. Yeah.
I've seen in the United States that the environmental movement or the green movement is a little bit of a counter to our materialism, and people now trying to conserve, to do more with less, to buy locally, and all of those things. And I wonder if in China you see that might be an area where there might be a return to some values when people start to want to improve the environment in their country and work on the same things.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, the environmental crisis in China is, if any, in the cities, worse than in our country, and people are aware of it in a very intense sense, but somewhat different. Most of the green movement in our country worries about global warming and these long-term trends and so on. In Chinese cities, it's more water pollution and air pollution, immediately what we're trying to survive right now. But the anger that people feel about environmental pollution is real, and the basis for protests on the internet and elsewhere. And yes, I think that is another good sign of the ineradicability of common sense daily life values in China, sure.
The preceding copyrighted program is a property of the University of California, Los Angeles. All rights reserved. It may be used freely for educational and not-for-profit activities. For other uses or to make an inquiry, please contact the Asian American Studies Center at UCLA.